Hi, I'm Jazz, and welcome to my room. This is my introductory post for a blog that I'm working on for a class called Legal Theory Workshop, Northern Jurisprudence, Reading Culture, and Thinking Law Through Inuit Cinema. One of the components for this class is a very open-ended media project in which we can do basically anything that we want. And so I've decided to use this multimedia blog as a place for exploring some questions that I think are relevant to the study of law, and in particular to this course. And so with that, I kind of want to start off by giving a bit of an introduction of what my aim is in this blog. I have sort of three things that I want to cover in this first video. The first is to cover the theme of this blog. The second is to kind of talk about what the format of the blog will be and how that relates to the theme. And the third thing that I want to cover is just a brief introduction of who I am, because it relates to the project that I'm working on. So the theme of this blog is an exploration of the relationship of people of color with settler colonialism in the Canadian context. And I'm hoping to really draw on feminist epistemologies with regards to embodied learning and embodied knowledge and drawing on lived experience. So as a person of color who's born and raised in Canada, I really want to explore my relationship with colonialism and how I might be complicit in the ongoing colonization of Indigenous people, and also in what ways I can be an ally for Indigenous people. And particularly I want to draw on my own experience coming from a colonized people. My family is originally from India, and I'm really hoping to include one of my blog posts as a interview with my grandfather, who actually grew up under British colonial rule in India and lived through independence and is now a Canadian citizen. So I thought it'd be interesting to explore his experiences with colonization as a means of exploring some of these questions. So that's kind of the overarching blog theme. And one of the format things that I want to go into is the title of this blog post. I've titled it Tumbling at the Edge of Empire. And this was inspired by an article that I recently read by a number of UVic feminist law professors titled Postcards from the Edge of Empire. And the article really struck a chord with me, particularly as a number of the authors are currently my professors because I'm a student at UVic Law. So the title is really drawing on how as women, as women of color or people with non-normative sexualities, and coming from a feminist lens of studying law, that they exist kind of at the edge of traditional legal studies, and also their physical positionality by living in Victoria, they're kind of on the edge of the Canadian Empire in a sense. And so because I am currently in Victoria and I do sort of fit into some of those positions that are on the edge, I thought that was a good title to bring to this project. And I particularly like the idea of using a play on Tumblr and tumbling at the edge, because there's often this sense that at any moment you might actually just simply fall off. And so I kind of want to draw that in my exploration. So that's the title of the blog. The other format things that I think are pertinent is I'm trying to make this a process-oriented project. So oftentimes I think, especially in law school in particular, we have this sort of focus on outcomes and having a final polished project, which effaces all the sort of struggles and growth that goes on to actually reach that point. So I thought by working on this project from this point onwards and regularly blogging, I could actually kind of keep track of those struggles and bring them to the forefront of what I'm actually working on. So really having this be an embodied project. It's currently February 8th, and the deadline for this project is April 19th, so I feel like I have a good span of some potential growth. The other thing with it being process-oriented is I really want to embrace the potential sort of contradictions and heterogeneity that would be produced from that, and those are kind of concepts that I actually were inspired from this article, the postcards from the Edge of Empire, and how those are feminist approaches to epistemology. So rather than trying to have this polished outcome, it's recognizing the processes that take to get to that point. And the other thing is I want this blog to be somewhat non-linear. So I've chosen the format of this photo stacks. So my hope is that someone who's coming to the blog could actually just click on any random post and just engage with the material. And this was somewhat inspired by I was recently shown this book, A Thousand Plateaus by Deleuze and Guattari, and I have not read it, but it was just kind of neat because each chapter is non-linear, so you can kind of start wherever you want and work your way in whatever order you want, and that's how I want my blog to be sort of seen. I will be numbering them, and there is kind of a bit of linearity to it because it exists in a time and space, right? So that will come out, but I hope that it can be explored in a variety of ways, and I'm really hoping that this will be a space where people can engage. So I'm going to install the comment section, and maybe people can send me messages or questions, and that'd be really great. And so this covers the key points of the title, the format being process-oriented and non-linear. The last thing, I guess, is I've sort of been touching on who I am throughout this blog, which is kind of inevitable in everything I do. It'll come out because that's who I am, kind of slips in through how I understand things. But I am a woman. I identify as a woman, and I think exercise an exterior representation of gender that fits into the sort of dominant understanding of woman. I'm a person of color. I'm originally from Calgary, but I'm currently living in Victoria. I'm a law student, so I have a great deal of privilege when I'm coming at this project, and I want to kind of unpack that, and also to draw on some of the ways that I may actually not have privilege, perhaps like in some of the marginalizations that occur as a particular person of color, and so drawing on that as part of the project of being an ally. And that's all for now. So hopefully this project will unfold well and be something that is enjoyable, and I want to have fun with it, but I'm also kind of terrified. It took me like 3 or 4 shots just to get to this point right now, and it's very constructed. Like these flowers don't normally sit here, so I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I thought I'd tell you. Alright, thank you for listening to this, and hopefully I shall engage with you. Bye!